Okay, so what I'm going to do is demonstrate the SELinux Security Lab. All I need for this one, as the lab instructions indicate, is the Debian VM. It's a Debian VM. And to make everything just as easy as possible, because it looks like I have to install some new software, what I'm going to do is take my Debian client, which is running on DHCP, and I'm going to flip it. Well, actually, I'm not going to. I don't have to flip it back into net mode because it already is. But if your Debian client is in a LAN segment so that it can talk to your infrastructure server and get a lease from DHCP, just flip it over. So we're going to fire this up. I'm going to log into it. I'm going to install SELinux. And I don't really want to wait for it to boot, so GNU Linux. This might be part one of a demo video. Okay, and I'm going to pause here because I don't really want to wait for the boot process. All right, so I've confirmed that I am in fact connected to the wider network. I used the -4 flag on the IP address command. Now I'm going to do sudo apt-get update. Now, okay, so good. This is always a good idea before you start managing your software. So next thing is sudo apt-get install SELinux basics, SELinux policy default, and audit D. And it's going to install a whole bunch of other stuff. 46 new megs of new information. Actually, 46 megs of archives, 200 megs of additional disk space. No problem. And I'm going to pause it again. It has loaded SELinux's policy. It is processing some triggers. The next thing we need to do is do SELinux sudo. Actually, let me do something first. Let me do sudo which SELinux activate. Okay, so I was going to do this with the sudo command anyway, but as the output of that which command tells me, I couldn't have done it any other way. It's in the sbin directory. It belongs to root, so only someone with sudo privilege can do what I'm about to do. Okay, it is what is actually doing. It is changing. It changed the grub file on me, and this is something you would see if you really go. Let's do this. What I'm gonna do is reboot, and I'm gonna look at grub and see what we see in grub now. Now, once this happens, once SELinux is on, and actually let me do get enforce. Okay, sudo. Okay. Okay. So it's not working yet. The fact that I had to use sudo for get enforce also tells me that it belongs to root. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to reboot, and I'm going to look at the grub menu for a moment to see if we can see traces of SELinux in the boot configuration that grub is using to boot Debian Linux. So I'm going to actually move myself. Restart. Okay, I'm not rebooting. I'm not shutting this thing down to capture. Okay, and I'm going to do E. So if you're in the grub menu, what you can do to look at what it is going to do now, what it's going to do with that, is hit your E key on your keyboard. And you will look at what grub is going to do. So we've got no floppy, set root, hint BIOS, else. Okay, here we go. I am guessing that this security equals SELinux was not there before. And so if you boot Linux, unless something goes terribly wrong, and if you'll notice from what we've learned about bash shell scripting, notice the if and else and fi and echo. This is fundamentally a bash shell script. Grub uses that as some of its infrastructure to make this all work. So all I have to do is, let's see, Control X to boot. I've changed nothing. If you do need to change how SELinux, how the OS boots, you'll have to change that stuff. And okay, so this could take a while. It is currently 4:33, as you might see down in the corner. I'm going to pause this to see how long this takes, because I don't want to lose too much of this video waiting for it to do its thing. Okay, so we're back. That took about 5 minutes, maybe less. So now we're going to explore some of what we can do with SELinux. Now, technically speaking, if you want to do all of this in a terminal window, say, pop over to, I don't know, terminal 4. Here we go. So, I'm in a terminal window. Guess what? I don't really feel like doing all of this as root. The instructions say to do that. You can do that. But really and truly, I would rather just go spend a few extra seconds typing sudo a lot and make sure that I don't accidentally goof anything up as root. So I'm going to exit. But let me do W. So okay. So let me see. The last will show you who was most recently logged in. We see a couple of reboots. Maybe 2 of them, interestingly. I issued 1 reboot. Maybe it did another on its own. So anyway, let's keep going. So exit. I'm going to go back to my primary terminal. There we go. So sudo. Actually, let's do sudo get enforce first. Okay, it is in permissive mode. So what this means is that SELinux will allow things to happen. It will notice things, but not really stop them. This is not an ideal solution. Permissive SELinux is better than nothing. It's more of an intrusion detection system than an intrusion prevention system, and that is a very important distinction. If you don't know, just off the top of your head, the differences between those 2 things, do some studying. Definitely pay attention in the information technology security course, sometimes colloquially referred to as the Sec Plus course, because you really need to understand the difference between intrusion detection and intrusion prevention. Big, big difference. Passive versus active, defensive versus, well, a standard IPS doesn't go on the attack, but it can close doors that it realizes, wait, should not be open right now. So anyway, so let's do sudo se manage boolean -l. We'll pipe that to less. Boom. And we'll wait. Okay, so these are some options we have. And you know what I'm going to do? Grep off. Oh, I forgot. In this one, Debian doesn't automatically colorize. There we go. Debian doesn't automatically colorize your grep output. The -- color auto flag will say, hey, use the preferred color scheme for this. That'll make your results jump off the page. Obviously, in this case, in bright red, so you see. Now, the downside is if we pipe this to less, all that coloration goes away, unfortunately. So, let's look like, let's actually do something, pipe this to sed -n1p. Okay, so so that's the first line, one line. Let's look at the rule for pinging. Grep color. I'm going to do color auto user ping. And okay, so we are not controlling whether or not our users can even use things like ping and traceroute. You might want to, depending on the situation and whether or not your users should be doing this. You wouldn't want to take this away from, say, your technicians, your network administrators, your engineers, your help desk analysts. Those sorts of people need to be able to send this kind of traffic, but maybe nobody else does, particularly because ping can be used as a weapon. Now, let's create a new user. This is step 9. This is going to do, we're going to do this the old way. Sudo user add -c. I'm going to call him jrandom. Sudo -wd jrandom, and I'm going to call him j. Okay. And now my jrandom password is jrandom with the O turned into a 0. So we could also have done this with the add user command. For example, if I wanted to be really, really funny, I could have made his room number 1337. So I've got, so let's do, so sudo se manage login -a -s user u jrandom. And it says user -as. Okay, hold on. We'll be right back. Okay, so it looks like the exact syntax might have been a little wrong. Let's try this. What I did essentially was I tried to get it to tell me what I wanted it to do. Well, actually, I tried to let it tell me what it wanted me to do. Login user, add, let's see if this works. Login option is needed for add. Okay,